The clock is running and the fit is real. An explosive talent, a price you can actually play, and a red zone ripple you can feel from the press box. I'm laying out the variables timeline, package, rotation, while the name stays off the thumbnail. This isn't a rumor for clicks. It's a lever that can tilt Sundays, tighten January, and change how linebackers read our mesh in the fourth quarter when Soldier Field breathes steam. Here's what you get today. No fluff. Why this move makes competitive sense now instead of in the spring. How the contract math doesn't handcuff the cap. What a real non-fantasy trade package looks like. How the rotation snaps would be scripted week 1. And why the locker room chemistry doesn't break when you add star juice to a room that's already working. I'll map risk, return, and contingency paths without revealing the target until the moment it matters. You're watching Bears News Fan Report. If you ride with evidence, real football, and a fan voice that doesn't duck the hard parts, hit subscribe, tap like, and ring that bell. It's free, it grows this tribe, and it keeps you inside the window while other folks are still reacting to yesterday. Let's go to work. Start with identity. Chicago is at its best when the offense plays on schedule. Quick answers for the rookie quarterback. Early down efficiency, and a run game that forces safeties to cheat a half step and opens the second window on dagger. The room today does real work speed for space, power for the mud. Enough hands for the screen game, but committees can plateau where games are decided. Short yardage, 4-minute offense, and red zone leverage. That's where one elite trait home run burst or tackle shedding transforms drives into points. Why push the gas before the deadline? Because the league's calendar rewards teams that act a week early and punishes the ones that wait for perfect. Health swings, weather arrives, and divisional tape grows stale. If you're serious about the North, you shop not for a headline but for 3 extra first downs per game. The kind that never trend on Monday, but move you from in the hunt graphics to seeding conversations. That's the pragmatic window this idea lives in, the money. A move worth doing has to protect 2026 and beyond. The file on the desk revolves around a player whose current deal is digestible, whose age profile matches the arc of your quarterback, and whose extension decisions can be made from a position of strength later tag, negotiate, or comp pick calculus. Translation, you don't mortgage premium 2025 assets. You structure conditionals that scale with impact, and you never add a veteran albatross to the books. That's how you build today without paying tomorrow's penalty. The football. The target profile fits multiple run families outside zone, pressed to the landmark with a violent one cut. Duo with a bounce that punishes slow overhangs. And counter with enough patience to follow a rapping guard and then explode into daylight. In the pass game, it's not empty calories, legitimate routes from a two-way go, screens that turn checkdowns into explosives, and blitz recognition that protects a young QB when protections slide late. Add in the attention gravity that forces a nickel to sit an extra beat, and suddenly Chicago's shot plays carry a safer launch window. The human piece is no smaller. The addition has to be a tone setter who accepts a clearly defined role, doesn't walk in demanding a crown, and competes without fracturing the room. You want a closer, not a diva. A finisher who turns a cold fourth quarter into a string of body blows. Roles get explained on day one, openers, change-ups, and the hammer. No passive-aggressive pressers, no Instagram subtweets. Just football adults doing football math. Now, the game theory with the seller. You're not begging a desperate team. You're calling a proud franchise that knows the value of its guy. But proud franchises also run models. They ask what a future pick is worth versus riding the player into a contract fork in the road. That's where conditionals help both sides keep dignity. No yard sale discounts, no overpays for a position to lead prices cautiously. Two smart front offices can meet in the middle without anybody losing face. Okay, this is the 10th paragraph, which means it's time to stop dancing around the silhouette and turn the lights on. The name on Chicago's whiteboard is Breece Hall. Now we talk specifics. Hall brings trait density you can feel on TV copies, real 0 to 60 acceleration, contact balance that survives first touch, and pass game value that keeps the playbook honest on second and medium. He's young, he's produced without a perfect supporting cast, and his current contract slot doesn't choke a contending structure. Most important for Chicago, his skill set pairs rather than cannibalizes. He doesn't just take someone's job, he changes how defenses allocate eyes and bodies, which helps the entire offense do its job. Price and structure, reality checked. A framework that makes sense looks like this: a 2026 third-round pick that escalates to a second if Hall hits snap and yardage thresholds and the Bears make the postseason. Plus a late-round 2027 conditional tied to team rushing efficiency. No blue-chip 2025 assets outbound. No starters leaving the building. You're compensating for an elite trait at a cautious position with protections that respect risk on both sides. If the fit sings, you discuss an extension from a posture of strength. If it doesn't, your draft deck is still intact. Usage on arrival. Week 1, you don't smash the room dynamic you orchestrated. Swift remains your space creator and pass pro mechanic. All becomes the hammer and the breaker of rules. Early down outside zone into glance RPOs, mid-quarter counters to punish flowing second levels, and a red zone menu that stops being predictable. Think pony personnel with both on the field. Motion Swift to widen the apex defender. Run GH counter to Hall back to the weak side and let the quarterback keep the chalk clean. Add a screen package that looks identical to your swing action until it doesn't. Now the nickel has to choose wrong. What changes for the quarterback? The mesh looks heavier, the second window opens earlier, and the panic throws fade. Chicago's young QB will get one more easy completion per quarter slant, glance, or tight end pop because Hall's presence tilts the box and shortens pursuit angles. That's the hidden math of adding an elite back. The pass game simplifies, not because you run more, but because your runs matter more. Matchup by matchup, the gains compound. Versus two high shells that want to stay light, Hall forces safeties to honor the cutback lane your glance RPO eats. Against heavy front teams, you use Pony to pull bodies out of the box, create a numbers edge, and throw the quick now that turns 2nd and 9 into 3rd and 2. In 4 minutes, he's the closer. Duo, toss, handshake. In cold weather, where footing and willpower decide outcomes, he's a series of small first downs that feel like haymakers. Risks exist, name them like grown-ups. Running back is a high-collision job. Touches must be managed intelligently. The market can heat up if another contender loses a back, nudging the price. And roles have to be crystal clear to avoid ego fog. But those are solvable problems inside a mature building. Medicals get vetted, count limits get scripted, and leadership sets the tone. Work, not whispers. What does this do to the NFC North race shape? It compresses variance. When you add a player who manufactures rushing EPA on his own, you insulate your rookie quarterback from bad down and distance, and you steal one extra possession over 2 weeks simply by finishing a 4-minute drill. That's how seeds are earned, not imagined. It's not romance. It's repeated, boring, winning plays in bad weather against defenses that know what's coming and still can't get you behind the sticks. Timeline and poker. Calls happen in layers, exploratory to set language, framework to sketch guardrails, and serious to swap conditions. You don't blink first, you don't grandstand, and you absolutely do not leak. If it's no, it's no. If it's call us after Sunday, you keep the engine warm. Either way, Chicago acts like a team that believes the window is open, not like a team waiting for permission to compete. Culture check. Bringing in talent doesn't have to bruise pride. It can sharpen it. The room sees the standard rise. Tuesday's blitz pickup drill gets louder. Wednesday's inside run period gets nastier. Thursday's red zone script gets tighter. That's how late season teams get forged away from cameras, in the repetition. Hall would raise that temperature without demanding the thermostat zoom out to January. The difference between dead ball punts and field goals is so small you can hold it in your hand. One cut, one bad angle, one broken tackle on a check down that should have died at 4 yards and lived at 20. Breece Hall is the kind of player who manufactures that once a Sunday. Stack a month of those moments, and you don't just chase the wild card, you alter the conversation. Your turn, Bears fans. If the package is a conditional day 2 pick that climbs with real production and playoff snaps, if the roles are defined, and if the cap stays clean, do you make the call for Breece Hall? Would you put thunder next to lightning and ask defensive coordinators to pick a poison every series? Drop your take below. What's your max offer? How would you split the snaps? And which matchup on the schedule does this break first? My personal view. The football fit is obvious. The price structure correctly is responsible, and the upside on cold Sundays is worth the bandwidth. But it's a scenario we're mapping, not a press release. This is speculation, grounded in logic, not an announcement.